Okay. Hi. Hello, Disham. Money.
Yeah,
Money. Hi,
hi.
Revant not yet joined. Can you make a call him?
Yeah, sure.
Tulsi, Pooja, Krishna Chaitanya. Uh, Pooja or Tulsi or anyone, can you put a message in the chat, group chat? So Krishna Chaitanya not yet joined. Can you make a
అనే
sorry,
అవుతున్నా.
a message in the chat?
Okay.
Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the introduction to SQL, right? There we understood what is SQL and why SQL we need and what is database and what are the database servers we have it, right? And what is data, what is information, and what is the SQL structure and how SQL query can process that we seen, right, in our previous class. Can you please confirm me, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now we'll look for the next concept. The next concept is, so I already told you, right? Every programming language which having its own, it's having two kind of things. One is the comments and one is the statements, right? Okay. Every programming language or every language in a computer perspective, it could have two things. One is the comments and second one is the statements. Yes or no? You can tell me what is statement and what is comment. Tell me, guys, what is statements and what is comments? What is statements and what is comments? You already know it, right? We done your Python programming or Python programming language or not? So comment means something it cannot be executable in a program, right? Cannot be executable. So that we are calling it a comments. In SQL, which is started with the two hyphens. When a line which is started with the two hyphens, which could not be executable. Okay. Statement means other than that, everything it can be executable. Is it clear? So in SQL, there are different kind of statements are there. Okay, based upon that usage, there are different kind of SQL statements are there. So let's talk about those particular SQL statements now, which is very important. These SQL statements are there are different type of SQL statements are there based upon the usage in a database. For example, the first one is okay, DDL. What is mean that DDL, or else we can call it SQL languages. Okay, so SQL languages or as SQL statements are different categories are there. The first category is it's a DDL. What exactly the definition of the DDL? DDL means data defined language. So the SQL we are categorizing into different kind of statements. The first category is it's a DDL. DDL means data definition language. Definition language. Second one is DML. What is DML? Data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. Third one is DQL or else DRL. Okay, so DRL or DQL means data query or retrieval. Okay, retrieval language. Is it clear my point? So you can call it's a data query language, or data retrieval language. And the fourth category from the SQL, which is a DCL, data control language. So you can call it, say, data control language. Okay. And last but not least, which is the TCL. What does mean the TCL? Transaction control language. Transaction control language. Yes, guys, can you please note these things actually? So every in case of SQL, so there could be a statements are there. Those statements we are categorizing into different categories. Okay. Oh God, just 1 second. Okay, right. Is there any questions still now? What I explained for you?
No. If you want to note these 5 type of languages from the SQL statements, then we can note it, or else okay, you can take the screenshot. It up to you. Okay. First, let's start with the DDL. Okay. So what is mean the DDL? You already know that, right? DDL means definition language. So DDL definition language means, okay. So for example, if we have a database or if we have a table, whatever we have it, to change the structure. If you want to change the structure, for example, you already create, okay, you already created one particular language, one particular database, okay, and or else if you want you already created, if you want to change that one, you can do it actually, or else if you want to create the new database, you can create actually, or if you want to create the table, we can do it actually. So whatever you wanted, if you want to change the, if you want to change the structure of if you want to change the structure of db, db means database, or tables. If you want to change the structure of the database or tables, then we can use the DDL will help you. In a DDL, we have a different commands are there or statements are there. I just noted those are the statements will help you to change the structure of the DB, okay, or else to create the DB or to change the structure of the table or to create the tables. Okay, if you want to drop the tables or if you want to delete the database, if you want to delete the table, that everything will be comes under to the DDL part. Okay, for that one we have a command or we have a statement is it's a create. Okay, for example, any SQL query which is having the create command or create query, then it means that it's a DDL. That means which is going to be changing the structure of the DB, or it is going to be creating the DB, or we are going to be changing the structure of the table, or we are going to be creating the table, or we are going to be deleting the database or table. Okay, so create, and second one is the drop. Drop means for deleting purpose we can use. Create means we can to create the tables or to create the database, we can use the create statements. Drop can be used for to delete the database or to delete the tables, then we can use the drop keyword, okay, or statement. And third one is alter. Alter will be help you to
to changing purpose. I already told you, right, to change the structure of the DB, right? How we can change it? If already created, then we can use the alter command or alter statements. These are the three commands, or these are the three structure, or these are the three queries will help you to create or to delete or to change purpose. We can use these three. These are the comes under to the DDL. Clear? So in when I'm writing the SQL query, if you're seeing this kind of statements, then you have to remember this is the SQL DDL query. I hope you clear my point.
Sir, can you repeat about alter, sir?
Alter means, let me consider you have a database. Okay, so the database, by the time of creating the database, you might set some permissions. By the time of creation, you set some permissions. Okay, so I want to change the permissions. I want to change the permission after you created the database. Then we can use the alter command. Okay, or else you already created the table with the structure. There are the three columns are there. I want to add the one more new column. Then that particular situation, we can use the alter command. Alter can be used for, there is some existing database or there is some existing table is there. I just want to change the structure for that one. There we can use the alter command. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And we'll see a lot of examples. You don't worry, just I'm giving a small introduction. What are the things are there, what are the commands are there. If you've seen these commands, the each and every command will do a lot of examples. Okay, next one is DML. What does mean that DML? DML means data manipulation language, right? Okay, data manipulation language. So when you want to change the data inside of the tables, okay, when you want to work on the data level, to change the data in tables, you're not changing the structure of the table, you're not changing the structure of the database, you're going to be changing the data inside of the table. So the table, it might having some information, right? That particular information, that particular data, we can changes. For that one, we can have a commands are there. Those commands will comes under the DML commands. Okay, for example, if you want to be insert some information into the table, then we can use the insert command. This is the DML command. Okay, and for example, I just want to be update the some existing data inside of the table, then we can use the update command, we can use it. And meanwhile, there is some data will be there, I just want to delete the data inside of the table. I am going to be deleting the data, not the table. So if you want to remove the table, then we can use the drop. But I would like to go for delete the data inside of the table. For that one, we can use the command is delete command. Okay, so these are the three are the comes under the DML. DML means data manipulation language. If you want to manipulate the data inside of the table, there we can use the insert, update, delete queries, we can use it. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, clear.
So we'll do examples, guys, you don't worry about it. But as of now, we have to try to understand what exactly happening. I'm just explaining the DDL and DML in the theoretical level. Okay, for example, let me consider this is my server. Okay, this is my server, database server, DB server, nothing but. I want to create the table inside of it. Then we can use the create command. So create, we can use the DB name, just for example. Okay, you are giving the create and followed by the table name, then database name. Automatically the database can be created inside of the server. Okay, is it fine? I just want to use this particular database. So you just use the use command and followed by the DB name. So whenever you are using this command, which is going to be using this command, we are going to be working on this particular database. Whenever you are using this particular command, we are going to be working on the whatever the name we have it, DB name.
Okay, so this is my database name, so which is going to be working on this particular database. For example, I want to create the table, so we can use the create, and just I'm giving the a bad syntax here. Okay, just I'm giving overall information. Okay, for example, I would like to go for create the table. So if you want to go for create the table, just you can use some command, something like create table. There is some other no process will be there that I'm not teaching now. We'll do these things in a practical example. Just theoretically, I would like to tell you, if you want to create the table, just you can use some command. That particular situation, you already selected this particular database name only, right? So that we are going to be creating one particular table. So by the time of creating the table, we have to set what are the columns and what is the column names and what kind of data it can be holding and what are the constraints we have it. That everything we can create in a creating a table actually. Okay, as of now, that's fine. Now I want to create one more table. For example, this is my table 1. Okay, I want to create one more table. So again, we are going to be creating one more table on the same database. Okay, so next one is, I don't need this particular table actually. Then simply we can use the drop command. So drop and followed by the table name. Then automatically this is the, for example, I want to delete the second table. You are deleted the this particular you deleted the this particular table. Is it clear? Is this clear or not?
Yes, sir.
So this is the way you already created the table, and if you want to delete the table, we can use the drop command. If you want to create the table, we can use the create command. If you want to I want to know, I just want to be uh, add one new column to my table, so we can use the alter and table. For example, you want to add new column, so for example we can use some command, something like add, and we can give you a column name, then automatically which is adding the column to existing table. So this is the way, these are the commands when we are using in a data level, database level or table level, then we can use this particular commands. So these are the DDL commands will work you something like this. Okay, for example, you have a table. Let me consider this is my table, and which is having the 3 columns. One is the serial number, one is the name, and one is the salary. Okay, this is my columns information. I don't have any data initially. I want to be insert some input. So for example, I'm using the bad syntax, guys. Don't think too much about it. Just time how these things will happening. So this is the one existing table is there. Okay, I want to add the data into this particular table. We can use the insert, and we can assign some data, something like 10, and so for example name something, just give some information, something like this. So data can be updated or inserted in this particular table. Okay, so something like this, we are using this some insert command, so data can be inserted in such a way with help of the insert command. For example, I just unfortunately in the name is not this one, so I want to be update the existing data. So when you want to be update the some specific name, okay, you can use some kind of clause and everything. Okay, where class and something conditions we should use, but as of now we can use update command and followed by the some name I want to be modifying. So already in this particular situation, in this particular row or record, data has to be modified. Okay, if you want to modify some specific data, okay, in the table, then we can use the update command. For example, I want to remove this particular 2 records. I want to remove these 2 records. Then we can use the delete command. Delete some bad commands only, bad syntax only, just for understanding. I want to remove the row 3 and row 1. You just use the delete command and giving your rows and everything, whatever the condition we have it, automatically this particular data we are going to be removing. This is the only 2 records we are going to be removing it. Is it clear? So this is the way we can insert the data, or we can update the data, or we can delete the data from the table. So for that one, we can use the DML commands, so that you are manipulating the data inside of the table, so that we are calling it say DML. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, clear.
Now, so we have one more language. This is DQL or DRL. So for that one, we can call it say data query language or data retrieval language. For example, we have some data will be the table is there. From this particular table, I just want to retrieve the data. If you want to retrieve the data from the table, then we can use the okay DQL commands to retrieve data from tables. For that one, we can use the command is select command. With help of the select command, and we are giving the table, okay, select command. With help of the select command, we can able to you can able to access the entire data from the table, okay, or whatever the information you wanted, we can access actually. So you have a data in the table. So some information you want to be access it. I just want to access the data from the table, or you want to retrieve the data from the table. Then we can use the select query. Okay, select, and we can give you some kind of conditions. Then automatically, whatever the rows or whatever the record which satisfied that particular conditions, we can access. If you're not giving the conditions, that entire data can be accessed actually. Okay, so that's we are calling it say DQL. Any questions regarding about DQL and DML and DDL?
No.
So basically, these are the two things which is done by the these three languages which is done by the guy who is SQL developer, who is working on the SQL or database development. Okay, those guys are working using that particular commands. But now whatever the command I'm going to be explaining now, that is the DCL. This is the DCL commands which is not executed by the or run by the developers. Okay, data control language, which is not done by the okay developers, which is done by the users. Okay, if you want to set some kind of permissions, to set to remove the permissions, if you want to set the permissions or if you want to remove the permissions on DB, so if you don't have a permission to access the database, is it possible to access? No, right? That particular situation, you need to interact with your admin, or we need to connect with your admin, and we need to raise the ticket. I just want to access this particular database. Could you please give me permissions? That particular situation, the admin who is working on that particular database, that guy, he is giving some kind of permissions to that particular users, to set the permissions or to remove the permissions to the users or group of people with help of the DCL commands only. This can be done by the admin, not by the developer. Admin is going to be executing this command. So what are those? Grant. So grant will help you to set the permission, to give the permissions. Second one is revoke. Revoke will help you to remove the permissions. So basically these are the commands we are not executing at all, because of these are the commands which is executed by the admin guys. So we are not worried about this particular commands, about DCL commands. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Next one is TCL commands. TCL means transactional control language. Transactional control language. Transactional control language means to use it to manage the transactions in the sense what, accessing the data from the table, or to do some kind of operations on the table, right? So we are doing some kind of operations on the table, that we are calling it say transactions. Okay, or we are doing some kind of operations on the database, that we are calling it say transactions. Okay, to manage the transactions, to manage the transactions, this particular transactional commands will help you. For example, you have a table, and which is already having some information. And for example, so you updated some information here. Okay, if you are updated this particular information, it just modified only temporarily, but I want to be modify permanently, I want to change the permanently. Then that particular situation, we can use the transaction TCL commands. Okay, For example, what changes you made by in a database or table, you want to fix that particular, you want to change, you want to fix that particular changes in a database level. Okay, for that one we can use the commit. So commit, when I'm using the commit, so whatever the transaction you did as of now, that you're committed. Once if we committed, we cannot access. That means you can access, or else you can, if whatever you modified, that it can update it permanently, not temporarily. Okay, for example, you modified some information, but you feel that it's a wrong transaction, then you want to roll back it. For that one we can use the rollback command. Okay, commit will help you, what transaction you done. If you feel it's a correct transaction, then you can commit it. You done some transaction in a database or table level, then you feel that it's a wrong transaction, then I want to roll back to my existing information, then we can use the rollback actually. Okay, as of now whatever you did it, that I want to save it. As of now whatever you do it, that you want to save it, then we can use the SAVEPOINT transactional control language. So these are the three commands will help you to manage your transactions in a database level or data DML statements. Okay, use it to manage the changes made by DML statements. For that one we can use the transactional control language. I hope you clear my point. If you have any question, please let me know. Disha, Mani,
No, no questions.
no questions?
No.
Okay, can you please note this all? For understanding purpose, guys, I would like to use the SQLite 3. Okay, for that one I can use the terminal. So I would like to go for use the terminal. So this is my terminal. Okay, zoom. Do you know any commands on Linux command? Do you know anyone Linux commands?
No,
Okay, I hope you guys can able to see my screen, right? Okay, so guys, if you don't know Linux, it's a very tough for you guys actually. So you have to learn some basic Linux commands. Okay, so here ls is the one Linux command. With help of the Linux command, ls command, what you can do, we can know the what kind of information is there in my current working directory. Okay, so in my current working directory, these are the folders are there, or these are the files are there. Okay, these are the folders are there. For example, guys, can you see my screen or not?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For example, I want to move to desktop. Careful observe here. In a desktop, we have some folders are there, right? If you want to move from one directory to another directory, we can use the cd command. And in my working current directory, desktop directory or folder is there. Then I just use the cd space desktop. Then now I am in a desktop. So if I want to know what are the information is there in my desktop, you just look here, ADS 201, WSU, different kind of things are there or not? Okay, so these are the things are available on in my desktop, so I can able to look with help of the ls command. Okay, now I would like to moving into your ADS 201. So cd space ADS 201. Now we are in the folder 201. Inside of it, I just want to create the new folder. I want to create the new folder. You just look here, manually I'm opening as well. So inside of it, we have only 3 folders are there. Now I would like to go for creating the new folder. So mkdir, with help of the mkdir, we can able to create the new directory in my working directory. Okay, so the name is 002, for example, SQL. Okay, so careful observe here, 002 underscore SQL, this is the folder which is not there previously. So when I'm executing this particular mkdir command, which is created or not, okay, I want to go to that particular folder 002 and SQL, but instead of it, it doesn't have anything. Inside of it, it doesn't have anything because of it's a freshly created. Graphically, I want to go to there. So now you are inside of the graphically, you are in 002 SQL, and by commands wise also you are in the SQL only. Okay, 002 SQL folder only. Okay, now what I want to do, I just want to do some kind of SQL commands, right? So we have SQLite 3. Okay, SQLite 3. So this is the one, one database server. So but it is a local server. Actually, you don't need any kind of server. Your computer can be work like your server. Okay, your terminal, it can be working something like your database management system. Okay, DBMS. SQLite 3, for example, I want to create the database. So the database is, for example, sample database. So SQLite 3 sample.db. See, so sample.db, which is not showing as of now, but whenever you create it, so we connected sample.db. This is the db which is not there, sample.db which is not there. Okay, just now we connected, but you're not created anything, right? So that which is not showing any kind of information on 002 SQL, right? For example, I want to create the table. So if you want to create the table, we can use the command is create and table name. For example, table name is SOC. Okay, and so here SOC, and you have to set your column names and the corresponding data type. Okay, so create table name followed by what? Column name, for example, serial number. Okay, and serial number is, for example, varchar. So we have different kind of data types are there. I will tell you varchar of 50. So what is this particular data types? I will explain you, don't worry. For example, name, and the data type is, for example, varchar, and this is also, for example, 50 only. So this is the way you are just created the table. You just create the table inside of the sample.db. So you just see here, sample.db folder is created or not? it's a folder is created, but there could be some issue. So the create command is wrong. The spelling is wrong. So that we have got the error. Guys, are you following my point? You don't worry about it. This is just a examples I'm showing you, but it's not exactly okay. We are not going to practicing this one anymore. We will do a lot of things in our further actually. So we have to understand data types. We have to understand a lot of queries. I'm just showing you how the database can be work and how we can create the tables and how we can insert the data inside of the table. That I just want to show you. Okay. So for example, I want to create one more table, but this table is, for example, it's a different table. It's AIT, for example. So as of now, in my current working directory, sample.db, we have the two tables are there. Okay. I just want to look the tables. What are the tables are there? I forgot a lot many commands actually. It's a SQL 3. It's a none of the company is using. Okay. See, AIT and SOC. These are the tables are existing in my sample.db. Okay. So here the create, you create the table, right? For example, I just want to insert some data. If you want to insert the data, for example, I want to access the data. I already told you, right? Select DQL query. With help of the select query, we can able to access the all data from the any table. Select start from, we can use the from keyword. Okay, and we have to use this particular commands only for accessing the data. I think we don't have any kind of data, so that it is showing nothing. For example, header on so okay, so for example, we don't have any data, so that it is not showing anything. I just want to insert some data. What data I want to insert into okay, table name. My table name is AIT, and I just want to insert the data is, I want to insert the for example, I want to insert the values. What values I want to insert? Okay, for example, 1, and the name of that guy is Ajay. Okay, Ajay. Okay, so we have only serial number and name only, right? Only uh, two columns only we created, right, in a AIT table. Okay, this is the way we can insert the data. And if you want to insert one more table or one more record, we can do that. For example, second one is the Kumar. So this is the way you inserted the two records. I just want to be access the what information we have it. Careful observe here. Serial number is 1, and so name is Ajay, and the serial number 2 and the corresponding name is Kumar, right? This is the way you can able to go for, access the data, and we can insert the data, and we can create the data. So that creating, inserting SQL, this is the example of the DDL, DML and DQL. Clear? I'm not going into the much deeper, so we have to look this everything into in upcoming classes. In this particular session, I'm just giving you some overall information. So like, just it's a small examples wise. Clear, right? Any more questions?
No.
Okay. So now what I should do, I would like to insert the same data into another table. What is another table I have it? It's SOC, right? Yes. Meanwhile, we can insert the one more table, one more record into the SOC table. So here, SOC also having the SOC table also having the two records, right? So let me access that particular information with help of the select. So here also we have the two records are there. Now what I want to do, I want to delete this particular table, SOC table, sorry, the data what we have in SOC that I want to delete actually. For that one, we can use the delete and a table. Okay, delete a table. Okay, let me try this one. Delete a table, for example, SOC. So which is not possible. Delete. Command is wrong. Delete SOC. Yeah, so delete from SOC. Okay, which means whatever the data we have in SOC, the data we deleted, the entire data we deleted. You not deleted the table. Okay, so previously you have two records, right? The two records which is removed with help of the delete command. Now same way, if I use the drop, then what happens? Drop table and table name. So when I'm using this one, so the table was deleted. Previously data is deleted, but now so we have only one table now. The reason is that you deleted the table directly with help of the drop command. So this is the way we can execute the SQL commands when you have a proper database management system. For this example, I'm using the SQL 83, which is the lightweight database server. It doesn't require the client and server applications. So in your local machines, even your Windows or even your if you're using the Linux or if you're using the Mac operating systems, okay, so default, if you have know the commands, then we can try to execute it and we can just to play on the database in our local machine only. Okay, but in real time, this kind of things it won't work for us. Okay, we should have a proper software, and from that particular software only we have to go for executing it. So most probably what I can do, I would like to use the Databricks. It will could be the real-time environment, so I would like to go for using the Databricks from the next class onwards for to execute this kind of queries. As of now, I executed on my local machine, right? But from the next onwards, I would like to go for using the Databricks and an AWS level. So which could be a real-time environment. I would like to go for touch in a real-time environment. So please be practicing each and everything in a real-time environment, so that when you're working somewhere else, it will be easy to access the data, or we can do some kind of manipulation of the data. So it could be easy for you actually. Okay, clear? Clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, that's for today's class. So as of now, I just explained only categories of the SQL statements, and we've seen examples of those particular things in a small things. Okay, but by tomorrow, I mean next class, we would like to go for understanding the SQL data types and SQL constraints, and everything will touch. Okay, once if you have a knowledge on all areas, then only we would like to go for writing the queries. Until unless we need to practice this kind of way only. Clear?
Yeah.
Yep. Fine. Bye. Take care.